Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my 2020 deck collection and declutter series. Today we're going to be looking at my Marseille and Pip decks, and I'd like to point out that this won't include all of my Pip decks, just the ones that didn't fit into other categories. Mostly we're looking at Marseille. In fact, I think there's only one deck in this category that is not Marseille. So let's dive in. The first deck I want to talk about is my Marseille Cat Tarot. This was actually the first deck that I purchased in I think I actually got two decks that day, but in a Say Yes to the Deck video, which was a fun series I've started on the channel. I really enjoyed doing those videos. This is a really cool deck, to be completely honest. It just brings a little bit of fun to the Marseille tradition, in my opinion. But I will also say that there are nods to Rider-Waite-Smith in this deck. But can we talk about the Death card and how cute it is? I've talked about it before. Death is literally petting a cat. Within the Marseille Pips, you also have a little nod to Rider-Waite-Smith. So for example, in this 10 of Pentacles, we have a cat with a treasure box. Or in this 7 of Pentacles, we have somebody here who's just kind of like lounging on some leaves, a little cat. And they're sort of anthropomorphized cats, I guess. They're like in human clothing and whatever. Here we have the 4 of Wands, the 6 of Cups. You get the idea. But I love the way that the art is done. It's like really colorful and it's got some depth. It doesn't seem so flat as some of the Marseille cats do. You can tell it's kind of got a 3D art style to it, and I really like that. This is just a fun, pretty deck to play with. And as far as like traditional Marseille goes, it's actually probably one of my favorites just because it's just cute. That being said, I will say that when I was learning Marseille and working with this deck, I found the little Rider-Waite-Smith or like little scenic points in the cards to actually be kind of distracting from reading this deck in a like more traditional Marseille way. If you read Marseille basically using memorized Rider-Waite-Smith meanings, for example, or something like that, you'll probably actually really enjoy working with this deck. But if you like to read Marseille Pips as very neutral and look at them numerologically, then having the little hints of Rider-Waite-Smith or having little scenes might be too distracting. That said, this is just really fun and cute, and I don't see very many people talking about it, but I think it's a lot of fun, and I don't think I would rehome this just because it's so unique and fun. Yeah, I said it. It's fun. I probably could have put this in my playful decks, but I wanted to do my Marseille kind of by themselves. So this one is a keeper, I'm pretty sure. So I'm going to put it in my little, oh my gosh, if I can, I hate tuck boxes. I really do. But my Marseille decks I don't tend to keep hanging on the wall in bags. I have a little shelf where I keep my Marseille decks. Next up, this is probably my absolute favorite for just reading Marseille. Well, I shouldn't say that. You know what? I'm gonna stop trying to say favorites. Anyways, this is the Tarot Cyrene by the Wandering Oracle. This is my second deck by the Wandering Oracle that I've purchased. I've also purchased the Marshmallow Marseille, but I didn't end up rehoming that one. I love these holographic backings. They're freaking gorgeous, and there's no texture to them. On the Marshmallow Marseille, there was a bit of a texture, and that texture did come through to the fronts of the cards. But this is just a watery, oceany deck. And actually, looking at this right now makes me realize it's just so dang cute. I really love it. It's smaller than a standard tarot size, so it's also really easy to shuffle and to handle. The illustrations are really sweet, and I just like the way that these are colored. I love this chunky King of Cups so much. I really, really enjoy this. It's so much fun. And the more that I look at this, the more I'm like, do I need my other... I've got 2 other mermaidy decks, and there's one in particular that I've been kind of toying with the idea of possibly letting go, and I wonder, just seeing this, I'm like, I'm thinking about it. Anyway, this deck, though, I'm definitely keeping. I really, really like this deck. So I am going to pop those back in there. Really pretty, definitely keeping. Next up, the Tarot de Maria Celia. This is actually another one that feels very traditional and yet is really fun and pretty to look at. It's a US Games tin deck. As far as I know, still available. I'll try to remember to have links to everything down below. This is what the backings look like. It's kind of got this almost aged parchmenty look, and it's very similar in sizing, actually, to the Marshmallow Marseille. The Marshmallow Marseille is wider. But these are like shorter. You can really see compared to like the Marseille Cat Tarot that these are definitely smaller. This has got kind of a fun, almost cartoonish vibe. And again, I just really, really like the colors. It's got these like really pretty like jewel tones that run through it, these like pinky mauve-y colors. And I really like it. I like that kind of cartoonish kind of vibe. And I would say of my Marseille decks that like look most traditional, yeah, I really like this one. I'm going to try to stop playing favorites because I really enjoy this one, but I also really like my Tarot Cyrene. This one's really pretty. And I love that it's in a tin, makes it really convenient, so definitely keeping that. This deck I'm pretty torn about, but I actually haven't worked with it yet. I got this in a trade. I'm really happy to have it. And I keep wanting to play with it, but I'm probably going to play with this deck around the Halloween season. It's the Trionfi della Luna Paradoxical Rose Edition by Patrick Valenza, who's the creator of the Deviant Moon Tarot. I love the Deviant Moon borderless. This is what the backings look like of the Trionfi. It's got this like negative, like a photo negative look to it. But the Trionfi della Luna looks very creepy. And this rose edition with its sort of negative or inverted colors, it kind of just trips my eyes out if I'm being honest, but I don't think I want to rehome this until I've had a chance to work with it. And I don't think I want to work with it until I get into the darker half of the year. So I'm not going to be making a decision on this anytime soon. I do love how decorative all the pips are and the wands. But like, am I really looking forward to working with this deck? No. So why am I holding on to it? I'm going to put this aside and think about it because maybe I am okay with letting this go, to be completely honest. I love the pinks in it, but I don't love the negative imagery. I don't know that I love the creepiness of it. And yeah, I'm going to put that to the side and think about it. Okay, next up is the Ancient Italian Tarot. I've always really loved the look of this deck as far as again, traditional Marseille deck goes. And I would say this is my most traditional. It has the most traditional kind of like, it's not cartoony, it's not particularly fun colors, but it does have more depth and shading than like a flat like Conver Marseille or something like that has. And I've used it a lot as a reference deck, but to be completely honest, compared to my Marshmallow Marseille, or sorry, excuse me, my Tarot Cyrene, my Marseille Cat, and my Tarot de Maria Celia, I don't get excited about this deck. And I did when I first found it. I picked it up in a secondhand shop actually, and was really pleased to see it. But honestly, seeing it doesn't really do anything for me. Like, I appreciate that it looks kind of authentic and stuff. How corny do I sound? But it doesn't, I don't get excited about it. So I think I'm going to also put this one in the to be considered for rehoming pile. The backs are really beautiful. I believe this is based on the Soprafino Tarot, if you're familiar with that. So yeah, I think I'm going to definitely set this aside to consider possibly rehoming. Next up, I have the gorgeous La Corte dei Tarocchi. This deck goes in and out of print. I don't know the story. This is a Il Minoguello deck. It's the only Il Minoguello deck that I have, and I think it's really special. I don't know how else to describe it. The cardstock is like, you cannot riffle shuffle this at all. But I tend to overhand this way because they're really long, like narrow cards. And it's got this like hand-cut, uneven, really kind of vintagey, or not vintagey, but like just, it literally feels ancient. And yet it's kind of got this cartoony, fun, sort of playful energy to it. I really love this deck. It makes me so, so happy. And I don't actually play with it very much. But it's like this thick, like super matte. There's something about this. It literally feels like something that could be in a museum. And I love that about it. It feels old. It feels kind of funky and quirky. And I love this. I don't see myself parting with this anytime, ever. And as far as like a traditional kind of feeling deck, this one is my most fancy and my most sort of grown up, which is not saying much considering what you see here. But yeah, keeping that. Next up is an absolute treasure, and definitely I would say my favorite pip deck of all of my decks. The Mythical Creatures Tarot by Baba Studios. This deck is so beautiful. I don't think it's really completely a traditional Marseille because the majors are all mythical creatures, but it is stunning. It's got all of this gorgeous like cold foil stamping and all over all of the cards. It's breathtaking to look at. It's beautifully done. The courts, the majors all have different mythical creatures on them, and then the minors are just pips. But it follows a traditional Marseille in the sense that it's meant to be used numerologically through the minors, and positionally through the courts and the majors for sure. Those play into it. This was my favorite. When I was doing my Marseille study, this was my favorite deck to work with, hands down. I don't know if I've contradicted myself in this video. I probably have. If so, I'm sorry. I'm a fickle girl. But the guidebook for this deck is fantastic. The deck itself is breathtaking. I love the star. I mean, I love unicorns, but this is a unicorn done correctly, and I know how much of a unicorn snob that makes me, but I am a unicorn snob. Let's be honest here. I love the dragon for the hermit. Oh, they're so beautiful. They're so beautiful. I don't even know. Yeah, like the way some people gush about the Victorian Romantic Tarot by Baba Studios is like how I feel about the Mythical Creatures Tarot. I love it. I'm so glad I got the standard size. I was tempted to get the large, like deluxe one, but I knew I would regret not having a usable size, and I'm so glad I did that because I love this deck. It's not going anywhere. This one does hang on my wall for standard rotation as opposed to seeing it only as a Marseille deck. I like to think of it as just like a regular tarot deck. Much like this one, this is the Pagan Otherworlds. I will be honest, I love this deck, don't get me wrong. I really do. It's stunningly beautiful. It's aesthetically, it's gorgeous. It's artistically beautiful. It's very, very well done. Oh gosh. Sorry, I have cards sticking everywhere. Okay. But, there is a but coming. It's not necessarily my favorite deck from a coloring perspective because, and I love color. First of all, there's some extra cards. You have a secret card, and then you also have some moon phase cards. I never use these. I probably should just shuffle them into the deck. And then when I pull one, just think about the energy of that card and maybe pull a card. You know what? That's what I'm going to do. Because I never know what to do with these. I'm just gonna stick them in there and shuffle them in. Because I never think about what I want to do with them, and it's my deck. I can do what I want. These are some of my favorite to shuffle. Some of my absolute favorite to shuffle. They are so incredible. I love them so much. Yeah, so much. They're so beautiful. Sorry, as I was shuffling this, I realized that I left the Playful Heart Tarot out of my playful deck collection video. And I don't know what to do about that. I'm probably going to have a decks I forgot at the end. Miscellaneous section. Anyway, okay, sorry. I was distracted. Back to, I thought of it because I think they're made by the same company, and touching this made me think of that deck. Okay, back to this. I'll be honest, if it weren't for the fact that I'm afraid I would regret it someday, I might consider rehoming this deck. Because as much as I love it, it just feels so dang grown up. See? Shuffled in. And look, Dark Moon and Death. Wouldn't that be a cool pool? A cool card pull? This deck reads beautifully, and I think it's very approachable. But I almost never reach for it. And it's stunning. It really is stunning. It's a work of art. And this is one I think I will keep simply from the collector's perspective. And my tastes may change in the future, and I may feel more drawn to it. But if one thing I think is clear, it's that I have a kind of an aesthetic when it comes to decks. And I really like bright, bold colors. And this is muted. And again, it just feels very grown up. It's like the... I don't know what it is. And it is literally a breathtaking work of art. And I can appreciate it that way, and I've worked with it, and I've enjoyed working with it, and I think it has so much to offer. But at the end of the day, it's not a deck that I find myself reaching for a whole lot. I've had some wonderful readings with it. It reads like a dream. I have no complaints about it. I just realized that I don't use it as much as a lot of my other decks. Maybe that will change, but I also can't see myself parting with it at this stage. So it is what it is. Oh, my candle just died. I guess that means it's bedtime. It probably is. I've been filming for a while this weekend. So, okay. Setting this aside, there's only 2 decks I put in my to be considered for rehoming deck. The Trionfi della Luna Paradoxical Rose Edition and the Ancient Italian Tarot. This is by Lo Scarabeo, I believe. Yeah, this is a Lo Scarabeo release. And I think I can let both of these go. So I'm going to put both of these aside. As I've mentioned in my other deck collection and declutter videos, I don't rehome them immediately. I always set them aside to be thought about for a little while before I formally put them up for trade. And I will probably eventually list them in the Tarot Trade Tuesday posts in the Supportive Tarot Facebook group, and or I may make a video about decks leaving my collection in the future and they'll show up there. But that, my friends, is my Marseille and Pip decks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for this video. I really, really appreciate it. Please make sure to hit the like button down below, subscribe if you're new here, and make sure that you, there was another make sure. What else? Like, share, subscribe, all the good things. Yeah, it's my normal outro, I guess, these days. And remember that if you want to book a reading with me, you can do that over at supportivetarot.com. Thanks, everybody. Bye.